Hey, how's it going everybody? I hope everybody is safe because this week we're going to answer a very frequently asked question. Nick, how much is my Akong land worth? If I want to rebuild, how long does it take? And later when I want to sell, can I make money or not? So I'm going to debunk a couple of myths with regards to landed rebuilding, and these are all backed by facts and case studies. So ready? Let's go. Okay, welcome back everybody. So I just want to say that this topic is very exciting and close to the heart for me because it leads down several schools of thoughts, and you can already see this developing in what JP here left us this comment in Fresh Hot Trending Popular Interior Designs video. So he says, "Hi Nick, the topic I'm interested in is built versus A&A versus developer brand new landed, and I see quite a few property experts touching on this, but I always don't think they actually provided real insight other than just listing of pros and cons. I really like a real point of views on this tree based on types of buyers / conditions and scenarios." Okay, thanks. Okay JP, so we're going to deep dive today into your FAQ, and I'm going to answer it in this manner. I'm going to break it down into the 4 options. 1, basically totally tear down and rebuild, which is buying land and rebuild something. Number 2 is to just do A&A, which is buy an existing home and do addition and alteration. And the 3rd option would be to buy direct from a developer who has just built a brand new launch. Now there's also one 4th option that should not be neglected, which is buying from a developer whose building is yet under construction. So there are such options in the market, you can look into them. So right now let's do a brief analysis on each and every option, and then we will do cross comparison to the pros and the cons and who actually buy this kind of thing. I'll give you case studies in each example. So let's start with option number 1. Tear down and rebuild. So the product description is basically you'll be looking for a single story or double story landed home with the age of roughly about 25 years onwards. The reason why is because the price and the condition of the current land and the state of the home will be ideal for you to, well, just basically tear down the thing and rebuild. So I'm going to use an example, and this is a typical entry level, which is the one that we sold on Charlton Lane. And this is a single story terrace house a while back, and you can see here from this short video clip. So here's the 3 big things that we must look for. Number 1 is the zoning. So the zoning should be 3-story mixed landed, and the reason for this is so that you can maximize the gross floor area, GFA. Now you can see down here that from the master plan you will be able to see there's 3-story mixed landed, there's 2-story semi-D, there's 2-story mixed landed in this very single estate itself. So be very careful to select your land plots on this basis. Now the next thing that you want to look out for is the squarish lots preferred. This is basically land shape and the inclination. You want to make sure that your land is nice and squarish so that you don't have odd edges and stuff like that, so that your building will always have very advantageous setback areas so that you can maximize the internal build-up space. We also don't want it to be too inclined, like for example there's high land and then there's low land, odd heights, because then that will have to cause you to create mixed levels or split levels, which is not too desirable. So most people like to have a very flat rectangular or squarish plot of land so that you can have a single floor plate nicely, and then goes up to the 2nd floor, lovely single floor plate nicely, 3rd floor, lovely single floor plate nicely, like a very nice rectangular building. Otherwise you will have mezzanine level, mezzanine step down, basement, which can be somewhat challenging and not the mass market preference. Then your 3rd thing that you absolutely want to look out for is your plot proportions. So this has a lot to do with the frontage, and usually the frontage is a good measure. So if you look here at Charlton Park, you can see this unit over here has a frontage of 6.4 meters, which is the breadth of the land. Then the length is basically 22.7 meters and 23 meters long. So this is going to show you that this land is a very nice and rectangular plot. Now you want to make sure you have a good wide frontage of 6.5 meters to approximately 7 meters is a good rule of measure for inter-terraces. So that will mean that your interior will work out to approximately 6.1 meters plus minus, and that will give you a lot of nice hall space. Now let's stick with the plan. If you're looking to rebuild into a 3-story plus attic plus lift and have approximately 6 rooms, 6 baths, then your building cost is approximately going to be $250 per square foot. today's current market rate. Your total build-up approximates to about 4,000 square feet. Now let's approximate the building cost and you will get 1 million plus minus. So you should also put in a variance of about 20%. Plus minus, subject to labor, subject to material selection. If you use all the atas, very rare materials, your cost is going to explode. So you got to manage that. Now we got to factor in building time. So from the time you tear down to rebuild a fresh, clean inter-terrace, you should be looking at a time frame of not more than 1.5 years, which is 1.5 years. You can expedite the process to be about 1 year, but looking at current conditions, it's nice to put it on at 1.5 years with a variance of 3 months plus minus. It can be early, it can be late 3 months. So that's good for your planning towards TOP. So this now aggregates your building value to approximately 3 million plus, because assuming you buy the land at 2 million and the land plot is $1,568 square foot, very challenging to find in today's market, it aggregates to a $1,275 per square feet rate. So factor that 2 million plus your 1 million building cost, it will be 3 million plus actual value of land. Now, the next thing that you will look at is, hey, what can I buy on the open market that is brand new today? If you're looking at inter-terraces, the price range is 3.8 to 4.4 million, brand new today, got private lift. So I ask you a question, if now you build a 3 million, build on your own, a 3 million, let's say a variance of 200k, which is approximately less than 20% lah, right? If it's 10%, then 3.3 million, for example. But developers will sell you something for minimally 3.8. Even today, 3.8 hard to find. 4.4 mil is something more likely. Is there a margin? Yes or no? The answer is yes. And that is why developers are hungry for this type of land, including ourselves. So if you have this kind of plot of land, please call me. I'm very interested to speak with you. And we can help you work out your options. And if there's a deal here, we definitely want to be first in line. So remember, call me. Okay, option number 2 is A&A, which is additions and alteration. This is for people who basically want to buy resale. Don't need to have major configuration changes. You just want to do minor configuration additions and alterations. And this will also help you save time and money. That means that you don't really mind buying into 15 to 20-year-old house. And this is usually the benchmark for what people look for, because any building beyond that, the structural integrity comes into question. So what we are looking for is probably a 3.5 story to 2.5 story. Let's use semi-Ds for this example. And we're going to use Jalan Kechubong, which is one of them we sold. Using this live example, I'll show you the zoning. Jalan Kechubong is zoned into 3-story mixed landed, as you can see over here. And it has a very squarish and even land. If you apply that to the topography, then you can see on the monkey map over here, it has actually a very nice frontage of 10.6 meters, and then it kind of narrows down towards the back for 5.7 meters. But the length is still 27.7 meters long, which is very lovely. And the other side is 21.7 meters long. So approximately it's not a very pure and nice rectangle, but you can see you still have very nice frontage in the front, and it kind of closes off a little bit tighter to the back. Condition number 2 doesn't really pass as a very nice squarish or rectangular plot of land, but frontage is pretty good, which is condition number 3. So you should be looking for semi-Ds at an 8 meter to 10 meter wide frontage, not too narrow, because then it'll be very tight inside. Here you can see at this footage of the home, right? It's very nice and lovely. The hall is wide and beautiful. If you want this kind of grand hall, then please stick to this frontage designated dimension. So here's a real life example. Our clients actually purchased this property and then decided to do A&A. So a good rule of thumb for A&A is 300,000 to 500,000 with a 20% variance today. Let's look at the assumptions. Assuming you bought this land at 2,443 square feet at the cost of 3 million. This translates to $1,227 per square feet. Very challenging today if you got this kind of land. But call me. The fact is, the renovation takes about 4 months to complete, and give them a variance of 1 month plus minus. And they basically just redid the interior, changed up the tiles. You can see the front lawn, this area, they have changed up all the tiles all the way to the back. They're pushing the layout of the kitchen, which is in the middle right now, all the way to the rear of the house. They are building a granny's room also. They are also building a back gate so that they can have dual access. And yeah, they're basically doing up all the bathrooms and the interior nicely. And this comes to under 200,000. And I would say, that's a very good investment. Okay, so that will put you in the approximate value of 3.3 million plus based on the entry price of 3 million, your land cost, right? So today, if you were to look at apple to apple, let's compare, right? A brand new semi-D on the open market. Wonderful, we have just the very example. Further up on the road, you got Jalan Kechubong, built by South Island, 2 brand new semi-Ds. The specs are quite similar, but these come with private lift and pool, and they have sold off the market for 4 million and 4.2 million each respectively. And I would say today, if you're looking at something even newer, you are basically stuck in the perimeter of 4 million to 5.2 million. So that really puts you in a very nice entry, and you can already see the advantage for A&A. You can stay in the house faster, you buy cheaper, reno also cheaper, and you can already see the product and more or less the outcome. So again, if you have this kind of land, please call us. We'll be happy to deal with you. And if this video has been very interesting for you so far, then help us to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel because subscription rate very low lah, help a bit lah. And we'll be very appreciative because this will help us to keep bringing property content to you up to the next level. Okay, let's go to the third option, which is basically directly buying from the developers. So these are units that have already TOP. The developer built this, and you basically can walk in and see the show flat, which is the actual unit, right? And then purchase from them. And I'm gonna give you a range of the products by land size and the rough prices that you can get them today. So brand new 3-story inter-terraces come onto the market for 3.8 to 4.4 million today. Then you have corner terraces and semi-Ds, which are more or less in the same category, for 4.2 million to a wider range of like 6.8 million because the land size may vary. And then you step into the third category, which is detached homes, which is bungalows, and these typically range from 7 million all the way to like 13 million depending on where is the location, and we're not even going to cover or go into GCBs. That is a whole other beast. Okay, so here comes the part of what to look out for. So the parameters for these kind of homes don't exactly change. I'm going to use a detached home example, which is one that we recently did, and it's Aroozoo Lane. And this one is a brand new developer unit that sold on the market for 6.8 million. It was listed at 7 million, and here's the video. Listed in 1 day, sold in 1 day. So let me explain the reason why these are selling very, very fast. They typically give you 7 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms and build up approximately to 9,000 square feet. So the land size is 5,000 square feet plus minus, and this brings you to a PSF range of $1,350 per square feet. Now we factor in the cost of building, which is $250 per square feet, and this will amount to 9,000 times 250, 2.25 million. This is just your cost of building. Now, if you want to know whether the developer make money or not, I'm going to teach you how to do break even. So what does that mean for break even? If you take 6.8 million, which is the sale price, minus 2.25 million, which is the cost of building, then we will arrive at 4.55 million, which is the break even land cost. So that means that if you bought this land for 4.55 million and you build it up, you basically sold at 6.8 million is more or less break even. Actually, we haven't even factored in marketing costs. So if you today buy at 4.55 million, it is barely break even. If you had bought higher than 4.55 million and you sell at this price today, lose money. If you bought lower than 4.55 million, then that is profit. So if you're, in case you're wondering, this plot of land can buy, can rebuild, can make money, then please do your math very meticulously along this guideline. Don't know, just call us. So in case you're wondering, among the 3 options, how do they compare and what is the best option for you? Towards the end of the video, we will do a full comparison of the pros and the cons and who is this for. Right now, I just want to talk about the parameters of these landed houses. They still don't change. We look at number 1, zoning. Number 2, land shape. Number 3 is the land proportions. It is very, very rare to find in the market. Let's use this example. So you can see this very plot, Aroozoo Lane, is 2-story mixed landed, not even 3-story mixed landed. So that means that it can only go to 1st story, 2nd story, and then 3rd story is attic. Where else 3-story mixed landed can go to 1st story, 2nd story, 3rd story, and attic. But then again, you look at the plot size over here in the monkey map, and you can see it is very wide, 12.2 meters front and back, and then very rectangular, 38.3 meters by the sides. So that land size itself makes up for 5,000 plus square feet of land, gives it that very big build up to about 9,000. So this plot proportions more than cover for the shortcomings to achieve the squarish and very well balanced bungalow for multi-gens to stay. Okay, finally, let's talk about option 4, which is buying building under construction developments from the developers. So these are units that the developer has already submitted the plans, drawn up the drawings, and basically are moving towards building this and have already put it onto the market. So they're putting it early into the market for a simple reason. They know that buyers and consumers may want to configure to their own desires in terms of the layout, in terms of the spatial configuration, or the feng shui necessities. That's why early into the submissions, they can actually do alterations as long as the foundations or as long as the building erections haven't started. So let's go into an example. I'll give you one here. This is 𝗏𝗏 Avenue, and if you can look at this listing in our website, you will see that it's coming onto the market for 6.8 million. Land size is 3,561 square feet and is built up to 10,178 square feet, which is colossal. It is a freehold tenure, semi-D status, and expected to TOP in the year 2022 Q4 or sooner. Okay, so what this gives you is the freedom to customize. You can select the layouts if you wish to. You can even ask the developers, hey, I want to push forward the development. Can you build fast? It is possible. Of course, no promises, but if you wanted to fast forward to maybe about 1 year with 2 months instead of 1 year 6 months, then it is still achievable today within the developer's control. Now, the best part here is progressive payment. You just pay 1% and then you get the option for 14 days. After that, you exercise the option 4% and you put off payment all the way to the end when TOP and you pay 95%. Isn't that wonderful? As long as you pay your 4% and exercise your option for S&P, then you can go into material selection and we can discuss all kinds of configuration changes. This one you can call us via the exclusive pages. Thank you very much. So now let's do an analysis and the pros and cons of all these options and who usually selects this and why. Okay, so the gist of it is basically lead time and cash flow. If you are looking at something new, you absolutely will not select option 2, which is A&A, because it involves extensive renovations on a already completed structure. And some people say, hey, this one people lived before, it's not brand new, I don't have defects and liability, I don't have control over materials. Sometimes it's fundamental materials, not the stuff that you can renovate. So if you are into full customization, then you confirm guarantee want to tear down the thing and rebuild yourself with full customization of control over design. Who is the architect? Who is the engineer? Who is the builder? Who is your agent? Tear down rebuild usually for one day one. Okay, if you want partial customization, then you might opt for the BUC units, which is the building is still under construction. The developers has already submitted the plans. So here you can basically already see the developer's conceptualization. You can see the drawings, you can see the layouts. But what is left is, if you look at the floor plans and the layout and you say, hey, I don't want the gate to be here. Hey, I want the driveway to not be so wide. I want it to be able to park just 1 car or 2 cars. No, I want the driveway to be 4 cars. All of this is within your control, and of course, you totally control the material towards it. Just dollars and cents lah. And finally, if you want the most convenient option in the market, then basically buy from developer that already built up new launch lor. You can see the product, you walk inside, you can see exactly what is the layout, how tall the ceiling height, how long is the hall, what is the materials used. Ultimately, it is yours to customize after you buy from them with just a tiny bit of renovation to touch on, and usually that final part is just carpentry only. Of course, you can also piggyback on the developers, builders and say, hey, I want this house, X dollar, I pay you more, you help me to do a little bit of customization. That is the fastest and cleanest way. Plus, you still retain your 1 year defect and liability period with them. Okay, so this is my honest opinion. If you have the capacity to really customize and do the cheapest building cost possible and look forward to the best appreciation or margin, then you will find really hack the whole thing down, rebuild up to your customization and preference, because at the end of the day, it's going to be to your liking and there's going to be margin down there. But the biggest thing is, if you don't know people in the construction line and you don't know your way around engineering and architecture, this can be very challenging for you, because you basically be handheld by the engineer and the contractor to whatever inflated cost and for whatever reason. So it can be very dangerous for those who are not in the know-how. If you are looking for something that's super convenient, I will just say look at reputable developers who have a name and a track record in the market. You can see them building multiple terraces after terraces after terraces, or landed homes per se, and then just buy their product, because honestly speaking, got warranty one. And as long as you do the math and it works out for you going forward, it will still appreciate. Landed is super scarce, and as long as your entry not super wrong, you'll make money eventually. The A&A route is really for people who want to save the buck and immediately stay the place and make a foreseeable margin. For this to happen, you must make sure that your entry price again is interesting. Let's say the average value of a corner terrace is 4 million and the land size is approximately 3,000 square feet. If you buy into this bracket, then if you factor in another A&A for 200 and the actual value on paper looks like 4.5 million plus minus going forward into the future, and brand new stuff like this, build up one, is going to cost you, let's say, 6 million. Then interesting one. Then finally, for detached homes, the rule of thumb is like this. 7,005,000 square feet of land. You see today, brand new one, got swimming pool, got lift, square one, buy. So hit us up if you're clear on what you want to do next and want our insights on what we think is interesting or not interesting for you. And if you're totally unclear and blur liao, just ring us. We will come in front of you and stack options for you and basically list the pros and cons, and then we can devise a situation best needed for your solution. Okay, that brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed this topic as much as I've enjoyed doing it for you guys. And if you want us to go into, hey, how much does it cost to build a private lift, jacuzzi, swimming pool, then drop it in the comment section and we'll do this, and I'll see you in the next video.